You look very comfortable with that guitar. Looks
You
like that
know,
guitar knows you.
in
Good evening, greetings and salutations. Welcome to another adventure with AARP Foundation Experience Corps on Zooming In with the Artists. Thank you all so very much for your support, for your volunteerism, and your constant encouragement. Tonight, we have a second edition of this special, unique, custom tailored event just for you. We want to thank the team at the Current. We want to thank Lisa and Black Butterfly and Don and my Morehouse brother, Tony Smith, and the other artists that'll be joining in. They've put together a special treat just for you. We want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the top of my soul. We believe at the foundation that the greatest compliment that you can pay anyone is when you choose to spend your time with them. So thank all of you for spending your time with us this evening. Thank you.
Can we turn it over to our publishing gallery? Go ahead. Lisa Dawn Taylor, publisher and founder of the Current Publications.
Thank you.
I'm throwing it to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm glad to see everyone came out tonight. Those that came back from last week, welcome back. And then the people that are just joining us today, we will have last week's available on video soon. We will probably email you and let you know how to access that. However, I'm the publisher of the Current Magazines, which is a trio of local magazines, the South Shore Current, which covers the Soul Coast, which is the east side of Chicago on the south side, from areas from Roosevelt Road all the way out to the end of the city. And we established that in 2014. And then in 2016, we added in West of the Ryan Current Magazine, which is everything west of the Dan Ryan Expressway communities, all the way from Roosevelt Road, Chinatown, all the way to Roseland. And last year, early in the year, we introduced the West Side Current to cover the West Side communities. And with those three magazines, we pretty much cover our news in Chicago. Our mission is to focus on the good news that reflects the love, pride, and honor of our neighborhoods. We also want to attract businesses and engage the values of the communities. And one of the most striking aspects of our magazines are the appeal of the covers, which you saw in our cover show, in the slideshow, right before we began. We chose to highlight artists of all levels, from young artists to professional illustrators and photographers. And out of the great response that we got from our audience with the covers, we brought the art and the artists to our audience in the form of the Current gallery and exhibitions. And right now, my partner in the galleries and exhibitions, Lessie Venardo Dixon, is standing by at the gallery. He's going to give us a little peek around. So Leslie's going to give us just a quick peek around at some of the pieces in the studio, in the gallery.
A little faster, a little bit faster.
Yeah, this is yeah, we'll see Antonia Ruppert a little later too. And those are Leslie's photo paintings. Thanks.
That's when Tony needs to have our music strumming.
Okay. Yeah, we saw Sebron last week, the winner of the Current Arts Awards. And we also met Milton Brown with his large sculptures in the gallery. We met David Anthony Geary also with the Great Migration series.
And that's Leslie's futuristic piece, isn't it? Oh, I think Tony's coming up.
Yes, Tony will be coming up. Tony Smith Photography. Okay. Well, thanks, Lessie. And we'll see you back in your studio, which is at the same building, the Simon Center for the Arts, a little later, since You're hiding out right now. Okay, guys. Stephen is going to introduce our first guest. Here we go.
Certainly is my pleasure. Longtime friend, a Greek brother, one of the Divine Nine. Our frat houses were within a block of each other when we were college kids. So many of you know that Dan Parker is one of the most famous Omega Psi men around, curator of his own home gallery, a teacher, an educator in art, taught at Olive Harvey, and is still a teacher and educator. Like Tony, I'm fortunate enough to have his great book. I don't know if they're still for sale, but if you can, it's a black market on this. You can make some money on this book, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to go ahead and bring Dan Parker in. Daniel Textador Parker. I love to say his middle name. Will you come on board for us and tell us a little bit about your collection, how you started collecting?
How did I get started? Well, I got started when I was like 5, 6 years old. I would use the crayon to crayon everything, every surface I saw. And then when I went to DuSable High School, I had the great fortune of having Margaret Burroughs as an art teacher. And Margaret Burroughs was so interesting. She taught us more than art. She taught us really how to love ourselves, how to love our flat noses and our full lips and our beautiful ebony skin. And she made us feel good about ourselves. So when we could put that paint to paper, we did it with confidence and dignity and love not only for ourselves but for others. So that's how I got started. And then in terms of collecting, my mom would always take us to secondhand stores to get the furniture. And at the same time, she would buy art. And from that, coupled with Margaret Burroughs, I moved toward collecting art and found out that it was just a rewarding experience.
Dan, what was one of your first major pieces
Well,
that you would consider major?
my first piece was a piece that of African art that is called airport art, because you buy it from the airport when you get ready to leave, and it's not used in any ritual or anything like that, but it's beautiful nonetheless. And I hadn't learned about African art. I just learned about the love for African art. So
speaking of the love for African art or art of the African diaspora, can you tell us about how you were one of the founders of Diaspora Rhythms?
Yes, Patrick and myself, another co-founder, we were invited to the Southside Community Art Center to on a panel. And also on this panel was Carol Briggs and Joan Chrysler. And as we presented what we were talking about, it was about art. Both Patrick and I realized that Joan and Carol were of like minds. And so we invited them to join Diaspora Rhythms.
Dan, what makes one a collector? Somebody who loves art. How do they become a collector?
You become a collector by first looking. by first looking at art, going to galleries, and looking and questioning, and then decide, well, I'm going to make this investment. And you go by what you like. Yes, this piece right behind me is by Faheem Majeed, and I'm so proud to have it. It's called Fallen. And when Faheem was going through a horrible time in his life, when his mom was dying, and he was her caretaker, he said he felt like he was falling all the time. And that's what this piece represents. And you can see it's a chair, a tall, tall chair. This is Faheem falling. This is the chair, the tall chair. And so
Is that
that
metal?
is a
Is
very,
that metal, Dan?
very precious piece. This piece is not just a piece of art. It has a whole history. It has the history of the artist and a delicate time in life. And so the art grows on you as you allow it.
I was going to
But
ask
if you were in my class, you know, I talk about, for example, long before Christ walked the earth and Michelangelo painted on the Sistine Chapel, Africans made the first strokes on the caves in Africa, thousands of years before Christ. And we have someone like Basquiat doing art. And for example, this work right here, Basquiat, looks very similar to the caves that the Africans drew on thousands of years before. And his work was selling, I think, for $31 million in Asia. So we started art. We were the beginners of art. And it has grown to the point that someone like this piece here by Leslie Dixon, he developed his own style of art that we can appreciate. As I back it up, you can get a better view of it. Mm-hmm. It's Afrocentric. It's part of who we are. And as you look at the brush strokes, how he does the coloring.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Dan, I think that is to your point that the best place, another great place to view art is in the artist studio. Let's go to Lessie. I think that's a great segue into Lessie. He's back in his studio now. And he can give us a little better overview on that new art style that he has cultivated. Hi, Lessie.
Hey, how you doing?
Uh-oh, I almost lost you.
Oh, okay. All
Hey,
right.
Lessie, you gave us a
Thank you.
great look around the gallery earlier.
Right.
And if you could just give us a look around your studio real quickly and tell us about the Afro Impressionist. I know I'm messing up the name, so you can tell us a little better about that. Thanks.
It's called the Afrocentric Neo-Impressionism.
Thank you.
It's, it's a form of art that was developed back in 2011, and I've been developing ever since. You know, I'm always learning and finding something new about it. I tend to study the history of art and different painting styles, and you know, you from each one to come up with one. I was first introduced to Gullah art, and people like Kerry James Marshalls and Earl, you know, people like that, you know, keep me motivated as far as the direction I'm trying to go with this. So it focuses on us as African people. It focuses on history that we've been through, and you know, things like that. So, yeah. So anything historical, it focuses on. Anything from the past, it focuses on. It focuses on, you know, our triumphs, our urban style, our love. It just focuses on everything. And I try to encompasses the brushwork. That piece that Mr. Parker had showed you is actually on the YouTube channel. It's called Gazing the Horizon, and you can see it develop from beginning to end. So you can actually see the brushstroke as far as, you know, how I applied and how I approached the piece. So, but I'm gonna show you some more. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
give us a pan around the studio.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The studio is kind of in a disarray. I was getting ready to start another piece right here. So I'm gonna go squeeze by that. But well, this is my setup for filming, and that's that. But there's another one. It's called Black Lotus. I'm just gonna pan around. I just pulled a few pieces out to show everyone. This is one I'm currently working on. And this is it's a music piece. So I try to encompass, you know, like traditional and developing myself at the same time. This piece right here is actually Alex Haley. It's going to the Alex Haley Museum. So when things calm down, I'm going to actually take a trip out there. And then I have pieces, you know, just stored right here. This is my little supply area in the studio. And then you have flat files where I keep artwork and stuff. This is my workstation, you know, computers and all that. And then another little supply area. That is really a model stand where I actually paint models, and I'll set up still lifes and things of that nature. That's a cityscape that I'm working on. This is another video that I'm working on right here. A little Hispanic girl, they call her Little Sugar. This is Dr. King. This is the traditional side right here, where I focus on my technical skills, the principles of painting when it comes to value, structure, volume, edges, color, even the art. The art is the least important principle in there because you've been doing that all your life. So you're going to always get better at that. You just need to focus on the other principles so that you have a better understanding of the medium that you're using. Then I have this. Here's another Afrocentric piece. This is one of my earlier pieces right here. So this went from this as far as the traditional way. Now you see brushstrokes and stuff up in there. Palette knife. And then I went from that to this right here, as far as using simple brushwork to gesture the figure on the body. Right. Then here's Marvin Gaye. And then, you know, it just pans around to the studio, right back around. And this is my collections of books. I got Impressionists, The World of Diego Velázquez, Ever Raymond Kinsler, Sargent, and others. And I like to read the step-by-step books as well, because it gives me a better understanding of like different techniques and things of that nature in the painting game that people tend to not do anymore. So I try to keep a fresh mind open for stuff like that.
Wow, thanks, Lessie. I really appreciate that. It's always a fun place. I like to come down there, and you know, we're always up to something with the exhibition, so we'll keep you all informed on that. We'll go back to Stephen. I think is he ready for to introduce our next guest? Everyone is, I think with the weather, we're having a little technical difficulty with a few lags and a few sound issues. So just bear with us. This is all live. Okay, hi, Stephen.
No, I was lost for a few minutes,
There you
but
go.
I did catch some parts of both the very great presentation of Lessie, but also the ending part for Dan Parker. I think what's actually next is what you wanted to have a great introduction to one of your favorites too, and that's Antonia Ruppert.
Okay, yeah, Antonia is a West Side artist who actually is the city is held its first artist in residence for areas of Chicago, and Antonia is representing Austin on the West Side, and she has been exhibiting in the current gallery for I think since the beginning. And she does beautiful paintings, and she's a nice person. And she's going to let us, yeah, she's going to tell us about the artist in residency program that she has been awarded, and also give us a peek around her studio and gallery. Hi, Antonia. Are we getting sound?
You are. Can everyone hear me?
Thank
Give me a
you.
thumbs up.
Yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. I am delighted to be here. Just hearing from Dan Parker and hearing from Lessie Dixon, just to get a better understanding. It's been exciting just to see everyone here. Yes, I was recently awarded a residency through the city to bring art projects and art programs to the Austin community, which is the West Side, which is the best side, of course. And
Hey.
I'm just delighted to be here, this evening.
We're glad to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I want to do, first of all, before I begin, I always love to start off with a word of encouragement. And this little word is coming from one of my 31 days of inspiration. Hopefully everyone can see that.
Mhm.
And it just says, leading with love requires great strength. It requires being vulnerable and a willingness to risk being hurt. It is both brave and beautiful. And that was submitted to me by Carrie Carlock, CEO of River Edge Hospital. So I'm just
Wow.
delighted to be here and just to share that art is important, as Mr. Parker said earlier. It is within us and everyone has access to it, especially tonight. So what I want to do, I'm going to actually take off my video here and move it to my phone. So just bear with me, okay? Okay, here we go. So this is a tour of my studio. And I just want to make sure that everyone can see that. Let me switch my camera around. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thumbs up if you can see everything.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome.
Great.
Okay. First, we're starting in this section of my studio. This is my love section. And there are a few paintings from my love collection. The first painting to the left is the one to the left is called Joy Untouched. And the one to the right is called Love United. And these are two of my signature pieces from my love collection. And I think my phone is charged so I can get moving. This piece here is called Hope in the Desert. And this piece is significant for me because last year, who knows, last year was a tumultuous year for a lot of people. And yet, despite all of that, we find a lot of hope in this piece. And in this piece, I established the fact that hope is still current, even in the desert. Let me know if I move too fast or if it needs to be sped up a little bit.
I think you're going good. It's going fine.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks.
A few years ago, I moved into an area and I did not know a single person.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to get to know my neighbors just by painting the women I saw every day. And so this next few pieces are from that collection. And moms actually invited me in for cafe just to know me as an artist and have me paint them. It was a beautiful experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a great way to get to know someone. I wish I had a neighbor like that, like you. Wow.
This last piece here, I just want to point out here, this son came to me, and I'm thinking about how Dan Parker, when you talked about Faheem's experience losing his mom, and it struck me because a few years ago I lost my dad, and right after we lost him, this son appeared to me, and it appeared to me in a many paintings, and it just stuck there. And I think we saw one of them at the current. You can at some point you may be able to see it, but anyway, that sun sticks out to me because it reminds me that my dad is always with me.
Mm. It's beautiful.
My fly area, obviously.
Mhm.
Good stuff there. My books are behind there.
Wow.
Beautiful Joy stands out to me. It was one of my pieces I did right after my grandson was born. And I'll tell you, having grandkids, it changes everything.
I believe that. Yeah. It's a beautiful overview of your work. What I'm interested in also is, as part of the artist in residency program, is that it's public works. Is there anything you can share with us about that?
Absolutely.
You have to bring her back in. Yeah, there you are. Yeah. Yeah.
So actually you're seeing both me and the side view of my face.
Oh, okay. I've done that before.
But you don't want all sides. One of the things that is really exciting me now is that I'm having an opportunity to listen to the community and to get a better understanding of what they might want to see in their own community. And so I'm doing a lot of listening time. I've interviewed people. I have, as of today, I have 45 more people in the Austin community to interview over the next 17 days in order to come up with an engagement plan. And then in September, I will have a capstone project, which will be a project that is well anticipated, because as we know, many of our communities just have been left behind. And so this is an opportunity to work with artists who are already there in the community, as well as, like someone told me today, I remember Edwina, she spoke to me and she shared about a mom who had recently lost her son actually to violence. And she was sharing how in her own work, she could see that to have this mom go from, I don't want any of that. I don't want any restorative justice. Don't talk to me about any of that. To go from that to the point where she is now willing to talk and willing to accept. That's the beauty of what art can do. That's the beauty of what listening. That's the beauty of what peace can do. And so I'm in a very beautiful position to be able to bring art programs and art projects to the Austin community in a real tangible way.
I'm very happy to see this young man here. He was the first place artist in, I think it was last year, year before last, Black Creativity at the Museum of Science and Industry. This young man is going to be going away to school. One of the considerations is, I think, Xavier, but we have Arthur Roby. Arthur, come in and tell us a little bit about your work and that you got covers with us, with the magazines. Go ahead, Arthur.
So most of my work is just based around Black figures, mostly famous Black figures like civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King and John Lewis, and musicians, different musicians like Eazy-E, and just people like them. I try to stay focused on the Black community just because it feels more relatable to me, and I like to paint what I can relate to because it just feels a lot better, and it just puts me in a better mental state. And now I focus mainly on commissions.
How did
like most of the time, what'd you say?
Oh, I was going to ask you how you started. I heard about you starting with your love of cars.
Oh yes. When I was real little, I used to always draw cars. My dad bought me a book, and it had the little tracing paper, and I would have to trace the cars and try to make it look exactly the same. And I've been doing that since preschool, maybe before that. And yeah, that's really just how I got started and interested in artwork, period. And I really think that helped me create just more of an interest and a love for it, rather than it being forced on me in school and stuff like that.
So where do you think your art career is going to go into the types of genres of art that you're interested in right now? Could you hear?
Yeah, I can hear it. You mean like
You do a lot
portraiture?
of portraiture right now. Do you do abstract or anything else? Do you work with acrylic?
I used to do abstract, and now I mainly focus on portraiture. I try to incorporate abstract into portraiture. Like if you look really closely at this one, you could tell that it's not the traditional smooth face. It's more shapes and triangles and a lot of sharper angles, and just not really traditional. Like,
And your award that you won at the Black Creativity, what was that particular painting about that got you the start to make you famous?
that was a portrait of my favorite rapper. Well, it was my favorite rapper at the time. His name is Young Thug. And I really think what brought people's eye was, or caught people's eye was, he had on this fur jacket, and it just had a whole lot of detail in it. And just he had tattoos on his face, and it's something you really don't see a lot, especially in paintings and portraits. So I think that's really what made me stand out among the other artists.
I'm fascinated by the picture, I mean, the image directly behind you of a father holding his son, and it looks like he's wearing a mask. Is that?
No, that's me and my grandfather a long time ago.
Is that one of your recent ones?
Yes, this is the most recent one I completed, I believe.
Did you photograph or what?
What'd you say?
And I see some other pieces. I see some other pieces just to your left and behind you. Looks like there's some African scenes. That's something you're experimenting with now too?
Yes, I tried to create more of a different background instead of it just being one solid color. I try to make it more, I don't know the word, but I just try to come up with something different, but still stay around the focus of Black people in Africa and stuff like that.
What's your next career step, either in terms of your formal training in art, what you might be going into when you go to college? Because you're graduating from Kenwood this year, is that correct?
Yes.
And where do you think you go next year?
I think my top two choices right now are Florida A&M and Xavier. I already got accepted into Xavier. I'm just waiting on Florida A&M, and then I kind of make my decision based on there. But I know I'm going to major in fine art and probably minor in business or something in the medical field.
Sounds like an exciting path that you've carved out for yourself. We're going to go on to, and I'm going to let Lisa go back, and she's going to introduce another one of our, but thank you very much, Arthur. And we'll be seeing more of you.
So we've seen a lot of painters. We also feature photographers on the magazine cover. And this next guest, Tony Smith, he had a magazine cover that was our most shared, most liked cover on social media to date. He is a filmmaker also. He does black and white portraiture. And if you are anybody in Chicago, you have to have had a Tony Smith photo done, which I haven't yet. Tony, hi Tony. And what we also discovered about him today is that he's an awesome guitar player who, on an impromptu notice, just provided us with our intro music. So thank you, Tony. Welcome. Yeah.
I talk less, I'll be quiet. I'll let you, but thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be amongst my friends and artists that I revere and respect and have exhibited with, and some who were instrumental in helping me establish my art career. So what a great day, what a great day it is. Having a wonderful time. And yes, this guitar is fun. I think that the current situation that's going on now with multimedia arts and photographers, we have to be a little bit more like Gordon Parks. We have to be filmmakers, photographers, composers, so that you have a little bit more control over your projects or things you're working on. So yeah, the guitar is fun. It's lots.
Yeah, I love it. But what we really want to love is your, are you gonna screen share?
I'm gonna check and see if it will allow me to screen share. If not, I
Yeah, I
also
think they'll
have.
we can let you do that.
Let's see. But before I do that, I'm going to switch over to something that definitely is in hard copy. And as I speak about inspirations, there's a project here on the African diaspora that Daniel Parker commissioned me many years ago to photograph his art collection. And it kind of moved me in the direction of wanting to be a fine art photographer as well as, and it was a great opportunity to document some of the most incredible artists that the world has seen from Daniel's collection from around the world and primarily Chicago. And moving from that, it motivated me to do my own coffee table book, which is titled Black is Beautiful. And it features artists and icons and scholars from our community, people like Daniel Parker and Faheem Majeed and Warris, and just top artists. So that was kind of my inspiration. And then Faheem comes in as executive director of the Southside Community Arts Center, gave me my first solo exhibition, which was called La Ventana. And it opened me up to the art world in Chicago as not only a commercial photographer, but also a fine art photographer. And later, the inspiration for this book, there was an exhibit called Black is Beautiful at the Southside Community Arts Center, which featured work. And from there, I'll move now to the screen share. A wonderful friend of mine, Dorian Sylvain, had an opportunity where she could showcase my work at
the Marianos. Is this
the Marianos?
Yes.
And so if we look here, it goes from that where now these people, again, that were my idols and people that were friends, are now a part of a permanent installation at Mariano's in Bronzeville. And so it shows the work. And, so wow, what an incredible situation to be a part of. And not only having an opportunity to have Masekwa and Paymon featured on the cover of your magazine. I didn't know until today that that was one of the kind of high ranking, but
yes,
what a wonderful, what a
Yes.
wonderful group of people, what a wonderful group of mentors they have been to me and artists around the country. So yes, I'm excited. What a great day. So I'm gonna let you ask me some questions because if you know me, I would talk forever and we don't want to get me started, but.
Well,
Yes.
one of the things that I noticed is that, well, what I'm most familiar with is your black and whites. And I think that the photo on your cover we've had in the gallery, if it's not there right now, we've had it. And what can you speak to us of your choices for that?
It's really interesting. That was inspired by working with Andre Gouchard. When I moved back to Chicago many years ago, I was involved with doing the marketing and design for all of his, until he started doing things with Absolute Vodka, but designing all the promotional pieces. And so there was an exhibit they did that was related to Benin, and it was these beautiful sculptures. And Andre had a chance to travel to Africa. And I was looking for an image that reminded me of that. And there's a young poetess, Amanda Furge, who's now in Mississippi. I had a chance to photograph her, and this image came from it. It was entered in Black Creativity and won first place in Black and White Fine Art, and then started to become a symbol that I wanted to represent of my work and of my people. So it went on to be, in major exhibitions. It's also now in the permanent collection at the Southside Community Arts Center, and is a piece that I've been using easily for the last 10 years. So naturally, it's been used for the cover and is actually on exhibit with you guys as well. I'm really excited to have that, as well as a gentleman, Kahari B. Disco Poet, one of the lead directors from the HCM, in exhibit with her. So yes, so.
Wow. So do you have, I don't know what else you have that you want to share for the.
I will try and maybe show a few screenshots. For people that don't know, I am also a documentary filmmaker. And my most recent piece that I really enjoyed was doing a short film on Bill Walker called Urban Griot. And so worked on that piece. I also did a piece called Black is Beautiful, which was part of my thesis, which interviewed about 30 incredible artists and activists in the Chicago area, and was later debuted at the DuSable Museum. So I've got that part. And then I do work for Diaspora Rhythms, where I actually, document their art talks, document the art exhibits. The work kind of goes on and on. So I've got a lot of things I thought would be easier to kind of show you guys, but I guess I can just talk about ranges. And also had a chance to document an incredible artist, Mary Young, where she's teaching the children. So this was part of a Dixon Elementary project. So I've been brought in to do things like that. And more recently, just did a virtual exhibition for the Illinois Black Judges, Illinois Judicial Council. So that debuted 2 or 3 days ago, and it has 200 of their members. All the images have been restored. We have art talks, which I'll send you guys a link. So I am, as well as teaching, I guess I would have to say, the consummate multimedia artist.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're a busy guy.
We have a recording studio here, so we can use that for voiceovers. Just ask me a question.
Come on in, Stephen. I hear you. You have something you want to say.
As much as we love Tony, we're going to have him back again.
Yeah.
I know
yes, we are.
Before, but we've got some time limitations. I want to bring on one of your good friends. We've been talking about, other people have been talking about. He's my neighbor and my alpha brother too, Faheem. Would you come on board? Faheem Majeed. And we got Darius.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
All right. All right.
It's great to be here.
Rich history. He's a rich history.
Yeah. First, I just want to say what a pleasure it is to be with everyone and keeping in pace with everyone. You know, you gotta have your Dan Parker book. I'm gonna keep up. I'm keeping up with Tony and everyone else. You know. Yeah, right. Get yours. I got mine. Yeah, I thought what I could do a couple of times. Dan, thank you so much. It's very touching seeing that piece. It means a lot to me. It is. It's like seeing one of your children. But thank you for caretaking that work. And there's so many shout outs in the room. But I know we're kind of stressed for time. So I guess I was asked to come on and talk a little bit. One of the institutions that's come up a couple of times, Southside Community Arts Center. Yes, I'm a practicing artist, and the young brother, Arthur, you talk about all them schools, FAMU and everything, congratulations, but you didn't say nothing about no Howard. We got a Morehouse man in here, Tony Smith from Morehouse.
I didn't hear any, I was wondering.
Right. But also just to say, the HBCUs are a wonderful place to really get indoctrinated into the history. It is really a great shortcut to learning the really deep entrenched. But you're from Chicago, so what I'll say to you also is you need to go down to the Southside Community Arts Center. Southside Community Arts Center is a space, it's a place that you go when you're trying to find yourself. And learn about yourself in the city. And it's, when I went to Howard, and I came to Chicago, all the things that were in the history book, by coincidence, were coming out of this 80-year-old art institution that was started in the late 1940s as a part of the Works Projects Administration. Many of us know this, but my work specifically, this is my medium. I go really deep into the history, and it manifests itself into artwork in many ways. So all of my artwork kind of points back to this kind of macro or a micro of a macro. So what the center allowed me to do was really think about Black culture in a very small, protected space. But by doing that, I was able to think about much broader issues impacting Black culture as well. So these are just some images for everyone. From the history. This is opening day back in late 1930s, 1941, when Eleanor Roosevelt came out. This is the first program, or when they kind of had their kind of official opening. Back in, it was 1941, and Eleanor Roosevelt came out, and W.E.B. Du Bois, it wasn't W.E.B. Du Bois, it was Elaine Locke, Howard professor and alum and as well. But there's a young Margaret Burroughs here. And I'm trying to give you kind of a really quick nutshell. I have a sense that a lot of people in the room, especially the South Shore Current, are very aware of the impacts of this space. Margaret Burroughs founded the DeSalvo Museum, but she learned about museum making from being a young person at the Southside Community Arts Center as one of the first artists from the Arts Guild that helped to start the space. So here are just some nuggets. Young Gordon Parks, a lot of young youth. When people go in there, they think it's because it's old, it's 80 years old, you think it's a space of age. So when I came in, I was a young person. I wanted to modernize everything. I wanted to put white walls up. And what I began to realize is so many young people started in this space and went on to do great things. Tony talks about filmmaking. Gordon Parks, who did Shaft, started out as a young photographer in the basement of the Southside Community Arts Center. Margaret Burroughs founds the first Black Museum of African American Art, and many, many others, from Nat King Cole to Gwendolyn Brooks. And to this day, to a young Theaster, to a young Carrie James Marshall, many people have come through this space and down these walls that you see in the background, which also has its own history connected to German architecture that came to Chicago. So with a little bit of time, I thought in sharing artwork, it's kind of challenging to share too much. So I thought I'd talk about one sliver of work that comes out of it, specifically thinking about the walls of the Southside Community Arts Center. When I first came to the center, I didn't know anyone, and I met people like Tony Smith, who told me to go to the center. That's the place you go. That's the place. It's a warm place. You go and grow. And I met many artists like Rob Johnson and Greg Spears, Dale Washington. These are the people who I was so fortuitous to meet and spend some time under. So the walls of the Southside Community Arts Center, when I came in, they looked like my grandma's basement. They're these old kind of beaten up wooden walls. And I said, man, this place could really use some drywall, like white walls. But over time, people like Doug Williams and Howard Seals told me to shut up and sit down. And Margaret Burroughs told me to shut up and sit down and listen. And I did that. And I began to understand why the walls were so important. I can always throw up new drywall, but what I can't do is find a thing that has 80 years of participation. So the marks you see on the walls, throughout the walls, is a didactic timeline of usage. So every artist from Archibald Motley to Charles White, Elizabeth Catlett, Gordon Parks has hung their artwork in those holes. They've made those holes. And then I got the privilege of being curator, as Tony pointed out, and was able to make new holes. So I got to take part in the tradition. So it wasn't so much that it was mark making, it was different. You know, white walls are something that comes from kind of a European sense of gallery making. It's not how it's always been. That's not how galleries have always worked. It's a thing that we've accepted. So here you have something like an Nkisi sculpture that's collecting things over time, that's absorbing our pains, our struggles, our beauty, and it builds. And what's exciting is it'll continue to do that into perpetuity. So, you know, author, when you come back from FAMU or wherever you go, hopefully Howard, you'll be able, hopefully, to take part in that tradition and make your own holes. You'll be able to put your painting in the same nail hole as Charles White or Archibald Motley, right? So I just love that history. So, oh yeah, go ahead.
You know, I was going to say on that note, everyone has had a delightful experience here today. We know that we need to give them a show on their own. I'm so glad that Lisa was able to put this together, to pull these artists together. And she and Lessie are doing a great job, and what they're doing are going to be doing down at the current gallery in the Simon Center of the Arts in the Bridgeport Triangle, Art Triangle.
Right. Before I want to say thank you to you, Stephen, for being our executive producer on this, Ellis for being a production assistant, and Mia Taylor, who I don't know, she's there, and Don. Where's Don? He's also our production. Yeah. Where's Don? Hi, Mia. Can you find Don if he's still here?
He's still there.
Okay. So we have Don Kelly. Hi, Don Kelly. He's yes, he's been another valuable part of our team. And then we also would like to thank our guests. If we can get them on, we can come off, which is Lessie and Antonia, Faheem, Tony, Dan Parker.
Another spectacular evening event of art. Thank you so much for your energies and pulling all this together. I want to thank the artists. I truly appreciate your works. I'm just sorry that I didn't have the books that everyone put out to raffle off. So maybe next time I can acquire those books, have them autographed, and be able to raffle those off as well. I am always a big fan of the current. Thank you so very much for your energies, for your efforts, and for your compassion. And once again, I want to thank our volunteers. This was for you. This was custom designed for you, from our hearts to your hearts. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. One last question was, when is the next event? We're not sure, but I sent, this is thecurrent.com, which is our website for primarily the gallery, where you can look through the gallery pictures and some of the past exhibitions. You can see some of the artwork. You can even get prices on them. There's also a link to the magazine's past issue catalog. So you can go there, you can see February's issue. You can click on that and it will take you to click see more, and it will take you to the whole catalog of past current magazine issues. And we'd like to say thank you everyone for coming, and we hope to see you again next month. Hopefully we'll do something for Women's Month is the plan, but we don't have a date yet, so we will let you know.
And I pay homage to our publisher and curator. I am so proud to work with her and have worked with her over these past 6 years. I only missed one issue, and that was the
One
first
issue,
one.
yep. He came in the second issue. So yeah. So everybody have a good evening. Stay safe.
Thank you. And Tony
Stay
was
warm.
out.
Yeah, stay safe.